Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we'll learn about Python statement, why this indentation in Python is so important, and use of a comment in programming. So let's get started. So first of all, we'll see about the Python statement. So any instruction that a Python interpreter can execute are called statement. For example, when I just say that is 2 plus 3 in this cell, then it is 5, that means it is statement. Or when I just assign this variable to be 1, then when I just print this, and it is also an statement. If statement or for statement, while statement, etc. are the example of this statement, and you can also see this is the assignment statement. So these are all the kind of statement which will be discussed in this lecture and in upcoming lecture. So first of all, we'll see about the multi-line statement. So a normal or a single line statement is here, which performs some arithmetic or manipulation over here, or something like assignment, or something like if, for statement, while statement, that should be discussed in upcoming lecture. So first of all, let's see about the multi-line statement. In Python, end of a statement is marked by a new line character, but we can make a statement extend over a multiple line with the line continuation character, that is this backward slash. So you can make use of this backward slash in order to support the multi-line statement in Python. So let me just take example. When I just create this variable as a, and when I just say 1 plus 2 plus 3, and let me just go down here, that means I want to make a multi-line statement. So what you need to do is just give this backward slash and go down over here, and let me just go over here again, and let me just add one more here, that is statement, and let me just add that is one more backward slash, and let me just say 7, 8 and 9. Then when I just print this value of a, you could see 45. And we have support this multi-line statement with the help of this backward slash. This is called explicit line continuation. In Python, line continuation is implied inside this parenthesis and bracket also. So let me just take example over here. So when I just say a equal, that is 1, and let me just add this down to 3, and when I just go down over here, and let me just add it like 4, 5 and 6 again, and let me just go down, and let me just add it one more time, that is 7, 8, and when I just say 9, and let me just print this down, then you could see that is same 45 over here, which is by using these parentheses. So we can implement multi-line using these parentheses, which represents the line continuation for this multi-line statement. Here this surrounding parenthesis, that is this parenthesis, which is a round parenthesis symbol, do the line continuation implicitly. Same in the case, we can make use of this square bracket, and we can also make use of these curly braces. So you can make either of these, that is round parenthesis, square bracket, curly braces, in order to support multi-line statement. Let me take a quick example by using this square bracket. So let me just create the string over here. So I'll just say colors is the string, and we can make use of this, that is square bracket, in order to support this multi-line statement. And when I just say red over here, let me just go down now, and let me just make another string or another color here. Let me say blue, and it should be inside this code because it is a string, and we'll learn about this string in upcoming lecture. So let me just take this quick example with this green, and when I just close this one, then let me just print these colors. Then you could see here green, that is red, blue and green, and it supports that is multi-line statement by using either this round parenthesis or by this square bracket, or it can be also supported with these curly braces. And we could also put multiple statements in a single line using the semicolon. So when I just say a equal 1 and give the semicolon, and b equal 1, and you could see here it is a assignment statement, and when I just give a semicolon, and let me just put another value to this c, and let me say enter, then you could see A is 1, B is 2 and C is 3, which is a multiple assignment within the single line using this semicolon. You can also do something like A equal B, that is 1 comma 2. We have already studied that, and let me just print this down, that is A comma B. Then you could see 1 and 2, which is this assignment statement in a single line code. Now let's talk about the Python indentation, which is very important to know in the case of Python. Most of the programming languages like C, C++, Java uses the braces in order to define a block of a code that should be executed. So when I just give the example of the Java, and if I make use of this if statement and give the curly braces, that means the code inside this curly braces should be executed if this condition is true. So we make use of this colon or indentation in order to define this block of a code. So in place of these curly braces, we have a indentation in a case of a Python. So a code block or a body of a function or a body of a loop start with the indentation and ends with the first unindented block line. The amount of indentation is up to you, but it must be consistent throughout the block. Generally, we make use of 4 white spaces in the case for the indentation, and it is preferred over the tabs. So let me just take example of this indentation. When I just say for I, that is our loop, and we haven't make use of this loop, or we haven't studied about this range, so don't worry, we'll just learn all of these. Just let me take a quick example what I mean with this Python indentation. So Python indentation is basically our for gap. So if you see here, we make use of this colon, and when you just put this down, so when I just go here and press enter, then you could see we automatically get this 4 space over here, which is the Python indentation. And for this we have to make use of 4 spaces, which is generally the standard, and it is basically preferred over the tabs. That means you can make use of the tab in order to create these spaces or indentation. That means when I just print now, that is value of I, then let me just go down again and let me say if I equal 5, let me just give the condition and let me just break this down. Then when you just say, it is saying 1 2 3 4 5, because when the value of I is equal 5, that means you have to break. So we have printed all the value from 1 to 5, and if the value of I is 5, that means we have to break up this loop. So if I just say something like if I in range, if I make use of the same code but without this indentation, so let me just break down here and let me just say print I over here. So I am not making use the indentation, so it is saying expected an indented block over here, which is the use of this indentation in order to just make a code or a block of a function loop that should be started with the indentation, and it also ends with the first unindented block here. So that means we have this empty loop of I, and this is at a 0 level of indentation. So the amount of the indentation is up to you, but it is consistent throughout the block. So it should be consistent if you make use of this if loop, or if you make use of for loop. Let me say for I in range, it was not the if, it should be for. And let me just go over here and print this I. Then you could see the same error, expected an indented block. That means the indentation or amount of indentation must be consistent throughout this block. And in the case of a Java, we normally make use of this in order to represent this indentation, but in the case of a Python, we make use of this colon and give 4 space as an indentation. An indentation can be ignored in a line continuation. Let me take an example what I really mean. So line continuation means you have to just execute in the same line. So if I just say if true and I just continue with here, that means you can just omit or you can just ignore this indentation. Let me say hello over here, which is our expression, and let me just print this down. You could see that then when I just hit enter, then you could see over here that is hello is printed, and it is not showing any error, that is like expected an indented block, because it is the case of line continuation. You are making the execution of this statement in a single line. That means you can just ignore this indentation. Now let's talk about the Python comments. So what are the comments? So comments are very important while writing a program. It describes what's going on inside a program so that a person looking at your source code does not have to give a hard time figuring out that what you are writing or what this code represent. So it may be the case that you might forget the keys detail of your program you just wrote in a month time. So taking time to explain this concept in the form of a comment is very fruitful. So when I just say value, that is c equal 45, and if you just come after the month or after a year, that means you'll just forget what this value of c was. So when I just write something like, let me just give the comment, and comment is usually given with the hash. So when you just put hash and give the comment, so let me just say this was count for, let me say health for our game. So count for player health, so let me say player health. So now even you come after the year or after a month, then you could just reference this comment over here which is saying count for player health, and you could easily figure out that this variable or identifier was referencing to this player health with this comment. So when I just hit enter, that means this part of code is not running. So any statement that is started with this hash does not execute. So when I just say 4 plus 5, it is not executed. But when I just omit that hash sign, that means it is executed. But when I just put this hash and do multiple operation, it means it is not executed. It remains hidden, and it is only reference to the programmer in order to show that it is a comment, or it is just referencing this code, or it is just giving you idea what this is about. Thus, comment are for programmers for the better understanding of a program. Python interpreter also ignores this comment, as you have seen here. That means it doesn't execute any this statement that is with this hash sign or within this comment. So we can also make use of a multi-line comment. That means if you want to make something that is a comment that have a multiple line, that means you can use this hash sign. So if I just say this and go down, that means it is only a single line comment. So this hash sign is not valid in order to give this multi-line comment, but you can make use of something like triple quote. So let me just create a new script in order to show you that, and let me just create a new file, and let me save this as comment.py, and extension py is important, as I've already said you before. So let me save over here, and let me just save this one. And now let me just give the multi-line comment that is within the multiple lines. So when I just say triple quote, and let me say this is, and just go over here, that is down, and also it is an multi, let me say line comment. And when I just go and write anything over here, and when I just close with this triple quote, and now when I just save this down and print with F5, it is not going to be executed because it is hidden. It is also a commenting. It is a way basically in order to comment the multi-line. If you just make use of this hash and go over here, and let me just come down, that means this hash is only a single line comment. That means you can't use this hash to support the multi-line comment. But with the use of this, and you can also make use of this triple quote, that is this 3 quote, or you can also make use of either this or this one in order to comment or in order to support this multi-line comment. So it can be also done by this 3 single quote or 3 double quote. So this will be the wrap for this lecture. See you in the next one.